Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast, bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand Centennial World. You guys can probably always tell when I have like a founder moment going on, like a big meeting or something. Today, I'm actually in the middle of doing this big or like attending this big marketing conference for MailChimp. And I literally just like left at lunch, like Ubered to the office to do Mini Scroll on lunchtime because I'm in a blazer. And when I do Mini Scroll in a blazer, I can say it's my least favorite attire to do Mini Scrolling because it feels way too corporate and weird to be wearing a blazer when I'm talking about the topics that I talk about on this podcast. It feels like inappropriate almost. It's so weird. But anyways, welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. I hope you guys are having a good start to the week. I'm having a pretty good start. I feel like the podcast on YouTube is starting to get a lot of traction randomly. Like it definitely ebbs and flows, but right now it's getting a lot of traction. So please subscribe to YouTube if you guys find this video. If you come across it, please subscribe. I'm really trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the week. I think it's possible. Also, please check the description for timestamps. As I have grown more and more on YouTube in the last couple of weeks, I've had more and more comments asking for timestamps. And if you guys are OG listeners, you know the timestamp grind. It's actually like a running inside joke with my audience that we had around this time last year too, where everybody would be like, we need timestamps, please put timestamps. And I'm like, I have had timestamps in the description of every single video for years. There are timestamps, just open the description box. And like my audience started like mocking me and like making fun of it and like commenting it as a joke because so many people would like go at me for timestamps when they actually were there. Anyways, that's a bit of a tangent, but please open the description box because I always have timestamps. All right, with that being said, let's get into the news. Okay, so the first story that I have for you guys is that the Emergency Intercom podcast has announced that they are leaving Cody Ko's podcast network amid his scandal. So another major development in the Cody Ko situation, Emergency Intercom podcast, which is part of Cody Ko and Noel Miller's Tiny Meat Gang network, has announced that they are planning to leave. The podcast is hosted by YouTubers Enya Umanzor and Drew Phillips, who started the podcast in 2021 out of pandemic boredom. Quote, in Drew's words, the show has a stream of consciousness vibe. And while its complete and utter lack of structure would doom most podcasts and make it impossible to sell to a production company, almost 60 episodes later, Drew and Enya can't imagine doing things any other way, reported Paper Magazine in 2022. So in May of this year, 2024, TubeFilter reported that Tiny Meat Gang had brought on Emergency Intercom, which was previously self-produced. Quote, TMG is the perfect fit for us, Enya and Drew said to TubeFilter. They understand our vision, and it's amazing working with a group of people that have experienced the industry from the ground up. It's ideal to be working with people that are genuinely funny because it gets hard being the clowns all the time. Plus, they laugh at everything we say, and that's the way to our hearts. They were also aware of our violent reactions to rejection, so maybe that helped. Okay, so people were really excited that Enya and Drew got this deal with Tiny Meat Gang because I guess they had been talking about how they wanted to level up their production quality and their set. And obviously now being signed with Tiny Meat Gang, it kind of gave them that opportunity. So they got the set that they wanted and their production really amped up. And this was only just a couple of months ago, but obviously amid all the Cody Ko stuff, people were, I never saw anybody say like, I can't believe, what are they going to do? I just saw people be like, I feel really bad for them because they just signed with them. Like, how are they going to navigate this? Do you think that they'll be able to leave? Because obviously, who knows with the contracts? So a couple of days ago, Emergency Intercom posted on Instagram and they wrote, hey, everyone, we wanted to make a post to express that we are moving the podcast to be produced independently by us. So in the meantime, no episode this week while we figure out the best plan forward. Thank you for your understanding and patience, Enya and Drew. So yeah, it's not looking great. I think as Cody loses business opportunities, he's going to have to address it. Like, and mainstream media has been covering this everywhere now. It's picked up so much. So we'll have to see. All right, the next story that I have for you guys is that Marc Jacobs has tapped Nara Smith in their latest content collab. So in another UGC win for Marc Jacobs, the brand is making waves in its latest collaboration with fake trad wife queen, Nara Smith. And when I say trad wife, please note that I said fake. That has been a point of contention on my channel, that whole deep dive that I did into trad wives and our obsession with trad wife content. And I used Nara Smith in the title and in the example. And the amount of comments that I've received, it's giving like timestamps of people being like, this is ridiculous. She's not a trad wife. I literally put fake trad wife in the title. Okay, fake trad wife. Okay, so in the video that Marc Jacobs posted, it basically looks like a typical Nara Smith video where she starts mixing ingredients. So she's mixing flour, egg, water, and red food coloring from scratch. And then she starts kneading the dough. And then the red dough turns into this tiny little baby Marc Jacobs tote. And then she puts that in the oven. And then she pulls it back out after it's quote unquote baked. And it comes out like a full size red Marc Jacobs tote. And then she puts it on. It's so good. It's exactly what UGC content for a brand should be, or just in general, like what a brand collaboration should be. It's so seamless. It's literally perfect. It's like thinking outside the box, but it's still so in the realm of the content that she posts. And this collaboration is being praised everywhere. And I know that Marc Jacobs, their TikTok is very buzzy right now anyways. So people are, there's a lot of eyes on it to begin with. But no, people are like, this is genius. This is so funny. This is perfect. And I think Nara is a bit divisive or like controversial. And so I do think a lot of brands would be worried about aligning themselves with her because there are a lot of questions about like, is she a trad wife? The ethics of creating trad wife content, what being a trad wife actually means, the kind of political association with being a trad wife, because there's a very big difference between being like a stay-at-home wife and mother and being like a quote-unquote trad wife, like what that label means. And I love it because it shows that Marc Jacobs, again, just like gets it. Like they get it, but they also understand who they're working with and they understand the online like creator ecosystem and where Nara fits in with that. And they're not worried because obviously if there's ever any blowback, well, they know it's not valid blowback because she's actually not like a real trad wife. Just another win for the Marc Jacobs TikTok team. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys, this is kind of a long one, but Chantel Jeffries has addressed the demise of her friendship with Alissa Violet. This is such a throwback for real. So for years, fans have been questioning what happened in the friendship between influencers Chantel Jeffries and Alissa Violet. And now, off the back of Alissa's drama with Tana Mongeau last week, Chantel has spoken out against her ex-friend. So Chantel said that she was being asked in her comments and DMs constantly over the last few days to address Alissa and talk about what happened between her and Alissa after Alissa made a video dragging Tana Mongeau for constantly making fun of Jason Nash. Okay, you got it? All the players involved. So Tana and Brooke called out Alissa on their podcast last week, saying that defending Jason Nash is not the hill to die on, and that Alissa just wants to keep using David Dobrik's pool, which is why she's defending Jason. And they basically just painted this picture of Alissa as not a great friend. And so I think because of everything that happened with Tana and Brooke and them being so open on their podcast about how they felt about Alissa, this led fans to go to Chantel because Alissa has told her side of the story, quote unquote, in her, kind of friendship breakdown between herself and Chantel, but Chantel has never talked about it. And Chantel and Alissa were such public friends. So people were like, oh, Chantel will be able to give us the insight that we actually need. So in her video, Chantel actually didn't really say very much. She basically said that her friendship with Alissa ended because of Alissa's actions. And she said that she finds it ironic that Alissa would go on TikTok and call Tana out for bullying, quote unquote, Jason Nash, when Alissa apparently made a TikTok insinuating Chantel hooked up with Alissa's ex, which led to Chantel being bullied and harassed online. Chantel said she also had to block Alissa because Alissa started bullying her little sister, Chantel's little sister. But yes, like I said, Alissa has spoken out. So this was Alissa's story. So in September 2022, Alissa actually addressed her falling out with Chantel on the Good Boys podcast, and she revealed why she's no longer friends with Chantel. So For context, the two of them became friends in the LA influencer world. Alissa moved to Los Angeles to join the Team 10 house in 2016. When Alissa made her tumultuous exit from the collective in February 2017, she moved into another creator house, the Clubhouse, which was an LA creator mansion with her then boyfriend FaZe Banks and YouTuber Rice Gum. It was in this house where Chantel and Alissa met because Chantel was one of Rice Gum's mutual friends. The pair immediately hit it off and even moved in together following Alyssa's breakup with FaZe Banks in 2019, along with model Cindy Kimberly, aka Wolfie Cindy. So this house, these were Instagram models. They had a lot of followers, a lot of clout. People loved following all of their friendship. But it all came to this mysterious end when Alissa and Chantel unfollowed each other at some point between late 2020 and early 2021. And then Alissa released a TikTok, which I believe is the TikTok that Chantel was referencing, indirectly shading Chantel. Basically, it featured text that said, "When you hear their version of why you aren't friends anymore." And then Alissa further said, "Tell the truth" in the caption. So commenters immediately assumed the TikTok was about Chantel, specifically accusing Chantel of sleeping with Alyssa's ex, FaZe Banks. Chantel attempted to put these rumors to rest, commenting on the post saying, "LMAO, I did not hook up with Banks." In October 2021, Alissa confirmed that she was no longer friends with Chantel on the BFFs podcast. So fast forward to September 2022, and Alissa went on the Good Boys podcast. And they basically asked her if she is still friends with Cindy or Chantel. And Alissa explained that she is on good terms with Cindy. And about Chantel, she said, "I think when Chantel comes into play, she has a sway over people. She can kind of take people under her wing." She alluded to Chantel being manipulative, saying if Chantel was the sky is purple, people will be like, whoa, the sky is purple. So this analogy took off and people started flooding Chantel's comment section with the sky is purple jokes in support of Alissa, which obviously then was kind of cyberbullying round 2, I guess, that Chantel feels was brought on by stuff that Alissa has said about her online. So that is the whole breakdown. I know in that Good Boys podcast, Alissa also said that one day she will be friends with Chantel again and that friendship fallouts just kind of happen and then they can come back around. But based on Chantel's post from a couple days ago, I don't think there is ever a world where we will see Chantel Jeffries and Alissa Violet being friends again. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please subscribe to YouTube. I am really trying to get to 5K by the end of the week. I love you guys, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.